Hello and welcome to the second part of issue 12, where we will be going in depth on how to paint your Blightspawn, plus how to use them in your games, the new To Wound roll chart, and the replay mission. Stay tuned! That was such a fucking tongue twister. Red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red.
Okay, so if you are doing sub-assembly, handy tip is to get a bit of sprue from the empty frame, like this, and find a suitable place to glue it to the piece that you want to hold. This way you don't get your fingers in the way when you're painting it, and you don't ruin the paint job by putting your fingers on the wet paint. So I've gone for this little bit here, so I'll just put a dab, just a little bit, because I don't want it to be a perfect glue job. I just want it to be just enough to hold it, so that when I paint it, it doesn't fall off. Ta-da! It's all going to be lead belcher from top to bottom, so I'm going to need to paint it all in one go. So this way I will be able to, whilst with this one I kind of have its own handle just here for when I'm painting the armour, and I can hold the armour when it's dry so I can paint the tube. Alright, so the colours you're going to need is Death Guard Green to start with, then you're going to need Abaddon Black for various areas to prep it for new colours, and also as an undercoat for some other colours. Then you want to skip over to Lead Belcher to do with metallic areas, Retributive Armor for all the edges and the details. Then we're going to go over the shades, so Agrax Earth Shade and Gnome Oil, to give those metallic areas some nice depth. And then to finish off, Bugman's Glow for the fleshy parts like the tube and Nurgling. So let's get started. First off, make sure you got a suitable brush. To speed things up, I'm going to be using this brush, but feel free to use a brush that you feel comfortable with. Have a palette of some description, some tissue, clean water, and just make sure give your paints a good shake. Put what you need on the palette like so, and just tiniest dab of water just to smoothen it out like so. Remember, you just want the paint on the tip of your brush, you don't want it all the way up the top, and you don't want too much on the brush as well, and you just go at it. So try and do multiple even thin coats, or as Duncan from the Warhammer community team would say, 2 thin coats. So it should look a little something like this once you have done a couple of even coats on it. And I can tell you right now that using that large brush is a lot faster, and because I've got it in a sub-assembly way, I can still get into the nooks and crannies. Now the next stage is to use some Abaddon Black. I'm going to use a smaller brush for this because it is more detailed stuff. Make sure it's a good consistency with some added water, and then I just have at it. So it's going to be bits like this nasty tube that's probably made of an intestine, and got to do the glass panel as well, so try to be neat with that, and little bits of armour like the back bit there, around the legs as well here, and just go crazy with it. Remember that it will seem like it's coming out patchy, but that's only your first layer, so do a couple of thin layers and it will help build up a strong clear colour. So when you're done with the Abaddon Black, as you can see, I've done 3 nice thin layers there, and it's come out nice and strong, same as the tube here. So while I wait for this bit to dry, I can move on to the next bit, which is to paint Retributive Armor. Just make sure you don't put it on too thick. Try and be as neat as possible, but do remember that you can always go back over any mistakes that you make. There's like some details on the pump, like all these edges here as well. You got the edge of this tank. Yeah, go nuts. This will probably take you the longest though, and you will need to do at least 2 even coats on this, because you know, typically Retributive Armor, even though it is a very good base colour, it still shows strong colours like green through it quite easily. So yeah, just take your time, have fun. Okay, so once you've done all the gold areas and you're happy with what you've done, then we move on to the lead belcher. We've also got the chainmail here as well. Look at that. The crank. It's going to be the machinery on the inside as well. And we've got these spikes here. Got the handles of the grenades. Got this crank part here. We've got the scaffolding that's holding it onto his back. And whatever else feels free also, because we haven't actually shown you how this works, but as you can see, I could just paint away and not have to worry about getting fingerprints on it. As long as you don't go too rough with it, it's not going to snap off. Okay, so once you're done with the metallic areas and you just double check that you've got them all, you can then go over with your shades. So Agrax Earth shade would be for your gold areas, non-oil for your silver areas. So as always, give them a good shake, put what you need onto a palette so you don't spill it by accident and you get more control over it. Close it, don't be a noob, and then put it away. And then start slavering it into all the crevices, get all those lovely details showing up. It already looks a lot better, doesn't it? So you can go as heavy or as light as you like. You can vary it as well depending on what areas you're doing. I would suggest if you've got skulls like this, go heavy in the eye sockets, just to really exaggerate the depth there. And again, don't worry if you get messy, because you can always neaten up at the end. Okay, so once you've done, oh shit, that's okay. Okay, so once you've done all the gold areas, you see it looks nice. You then go on to the silver areas with the non-oil. Just repeat the same process. Okay, so once you've done that and it is dried, the next bit will be to get your Bugman's glow, and we're going to paint all the fleshy bits. So see that head with all that flesh on it? You're going to paint that up. Well, we're going to paint all that as well. And the tentacles, of course, you can't forget to paint the tentacles. Also, let's put some colour on the Nurgling as well. So again, make sure you do nice thin even coats. Don't be afraid to do a couple of them, just so you get that nice smooth coverage without obscuring your details, because there's a lot of details. I mean, look, he's got boils on his bum, for Christ's sake. I mean, if that ain't detail enough, I don't know what is. Alright, so after you've done the flesh tones, you then just neaten up on any of the rough spilled areas, and it should look a little something like this. Do note that now that the base colours have been done for this and the areas that will be underneath, once this is placed back, I am happy and confident enough to glue it in, so that when it comes to painting it at a later date, we are just doing the fine details on the areas. So needing a big brush is not a necessity. You will need a smaller brush for those highlights and details. So when you are removing a piece from being glued, just gotta be careful and just pull it off. And of course, because this is going to be the glued spot, you will need to just neaten off the area. Now I would suggest using a hobby knife. If you don't have one to hand, you can still use the good old scraper and just make sure that you get that little bit that's sort of warped from the plastic glue. So just want to flatten it out a bit. Like so. And also, when you are gluing the areas, try and remove some of the paint, because the paint, just like the glue, melts, and the problem with that is not only can it ruin your paint job, but it also means that the paint will stick rather than the plastic, and the paint can come off the plastic, so it's not a permanent fix. Let's just dry fit that just to double check where it goes. Looks good. Okay, so very carefully, just put a dot there, dot in there, and a little dot there, and then make sure you don't smudge it, because if you smudge it, there goes your paint job. Okay, and just gotta make sure that all points are connected properly, like so. So there you have it, very nice and ready for those future colours.
With the Pox Walkers temporarily cleared from the cargo deck by the Space Marines' bolter fire, the Death Guard have decided to send forth the Foul Blightspawn. This plague-brewing alchemist has come hunting for fresh victims to test his foul concoctions on. The Space Marines have responded by sending out Lieutenant Calcius and his men to hunt down the pestilent plague spreader. The Foul Blightspawn readies his plague sprayer and checks his rack of grenades as he lumbers forward, ready to share Nurgle's gifts with the unfortunate Ultramarines. As usual, you're going to need your dice, your range ruler, the playmat, and in this scenario, you're going to be using the Blightspawn for the Death Guard faction, and for the Ultramarines, you're just using the Intercessors, Lieutenant Calcius, and Reavers. I say just, there's a lot of them. So, let's go over the rules. So the Foul Blightspawn, he has a 3+ to hit when shooting and a 3+ to hit when in combat. So he is quite a good fighter. The strength of his shooting is 2d6, so you need to roll 2 dice, and the added result is the strength of his weapon, and we'll go into more detail about that in a minute. The strength of his close combat attacks is 4. He gets 1 attack. His toughness 5. His save is 3+, and then he has the 5+ disgustingly resilient save. He only has 1 wound, and he moves 5 inches. So
he's kind of a glass cannon really. He can dish it out, but he can't take it. And then of course Lieutenant Calcius, his rules been updated, so 3+ to hit on the shooting, 2+ in combat, 4s for the strength of the shooting and close combat attacks, 4 attacks close combat. He's toughness 4 and he has a 3+ save, 5 wounds. And then the Reavers, 3+, 3+, 4s for shooting and 4 for combat. That's strength, not 4+ on the roll. And then they get 3 attacks in close combat, toughness 4, 3+ save, 2 wounds. And the Intercessors, so again, same stuff, 2 attacks in combat, toughness 4, 2 wounds. So as you can see, the new thing here is the included value of toughness and strength, which we will go into in a moment. Disgustingly resilient, so you should know about that by now. On a 5+, on a failed save, or if a wound has been taken that negates the save, they will always have that 5+ disgustingly resilient save, and that's for the Death Guard player. Lieutenant Calcius has a power sword, so you modify the save of the Blightspawn to a 6+ when in combat. Tactical precision, so friendly units within 6 inches of Calcius, or have at least one model from that unit within 6 inches of Lieutenant Calcius, get to reroll wound rolls of 1, but you can't reroll it again. And crack grenades, so in the shooting phase, one model in a unit may choose to throw a grenade instead of firing any other weapon. Crack grenades have a range of 6 inch and a strength of 6. They deal D3 damage on a successful hit. Enemies save on a 4+. Here is the meat of it. We are going into strength and toughness. Rolling to wound. So once you've rolled to hit, you then need to compare the toughness value of the enemy that you're shooting at with the strength of the attack, whether that be from the weapon that you're shooting with or the weapon in close combat. Each thing will have its own value. Then you have a look at the wound roll chart. So here you have attacker strength versus target toughness, and the D6 roll requires. So if the strength is twice or more than the toughness, you only need to roll 2 or more. If the strength is greater than the toughness, so less than double but more than equal, it's a 3+. If it is equal, it's 4. If it is lower, it's 5. And if the strength is half of the toughness, it's a 6+. This guy and his weapon is ridiculous, so let's just go over those rules. The Plague Sprayer. The Plague Sprayer automatically hits. Roll 2d6 to find the strength first. Then roll a d6 to see how many hits you score on the target. You then roll to wound on their 2 wound chart. Enemies save on a 6+. Each wound does d3 damage. So, the Plague Sprayer, it's an automatic hit, which means you don't have to roll to hit your opponents. You just need to roll for the strength of it. So 2 dice, add the total, which is 6. You then roll 1 dice to see how many hits you get. 3. Okay, so you get 3 dice at strength 6. If you have a look at the to wound chart, you'll see that the strength is not double the toughness 4 of the Reavers, but it is greater than. So you need 3 or more to wound. And we have 2 wounds. So now they need to make their saves. So they will make their saves of 3+, of which 1 is saved, but 1 goes through. Now that you've rolled
the saves, you then roll to see how much damage the wound that has been successful creates. So let's roll that dice. And if you check that on the D3 chart, you'll find that that is 2 wounds. So one of these guys is now removed from play. Okay, so the replay mission is burn the bomb. So we're swapping out the intercessors from the tutorial mission for aggressors, and we are adding 12 poxwalkers. So place the Death Guard objective marker in the location shown on the map below. See where that is? It's right there. That is your virus bomb. The Space Marine aggressors must destroy the objective before the virus bomb can detonate. In order to incinerate the virus bomb with a concentrated blast of fire, one of the aggressors needs to move into base contact with the objective and stay there for a whole battle round. We've got some updated rules as well for the poxwalkers, so it's now including their strength and toughness values, and the same for the aggressors as well. As you can see, very strong attacks. Death Guard. The Foul Blightspawn's Plague Sprayer is lethal, but you need to get close to use it. Use the poxwalkers to block enemy fire. So as you can see here, done a sort of meat shield. So essentially you can march your Blightspawn forward without getting shot at, because characters cannot be shot at if they are behind the closest enemy unit to whoever's shooting. The Foul Blightspawn is a character model and can perform heroic interventions. For the Space Marine player, the Foul Blightspawn's Plague Sprayer can be very deadly. Try to stay out of range. Make use of the Intercessor's range attacks. Intercessors, hey? Saying Intercessors, but we got Reavers. So maybe they're getting confused here. This is another proofreading problem. See, Reavers, they're saying Intercessors. Never mind. You can fall back and shoot in the same turn thanks to the Ultramarines Codex Discipline ability. So you can always keep out of range by just backing off and still shooting. But what you want to do is march these chaps as soon as possible onto the objective, and because they got assault weapons, they can still shoot them if you march them as well. So I would say if you were going to deploy your aggressors, deploy them on one of these spots. It's the fastest route to the virus bomb. That way you can run there, you can blast the fire into the poxwalkers because they're going to be used as a screen, and you can do as much damage as possible to get rid of them. In the same breath, this guy needs to get across the board fast as well. He's going to need to run, but he needs to keep in cover because he's very fragile. So make sure you're always behind your poxwalkers and make sure you're behind cover. Replay extra rules. Okay, so you have an alternative grenade attack called Unholy Death's Head. Once per battle, a Foul Blightspawn or any other friendly model within 3 inches of him, so your poxwalkers, can throw an Unholy Death's Head grenade instead of either a Blight grenade or a Hyper Blight grenade. When doing so, roll 2d6 attacks instead of 1d6. A special rule called Revolting Stench. So enemy units that charge and are within 7 inches of this model at the start of the fight phase are stopped in their tracks. Units affected by this ability do not fight first in the fight phase, but can be chosen to fight like other units that didn't charge. So it kind of makes up for some of that fragility that he has in the lack of wounds that he has. Sergeants have been updated, so they just have an extra attack in close combat. Though again, someone's not proofreading properly and it says extra Iraq. Whatever that is,
I'm sure it will help to kill some zombies. So there you have it. Those are your rules, and that's next issue, so can't wait to get that started.
So thanks again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and just comment down below what you think about each episode. And I hope you had fun with your Blightspawn. I know I have, and I can't wait to get more painted onto it. So until next time, see you then. Red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry, red lorry, yellow lorry.